Hello, my darlings. Welcome to Blood Brothers. Now, this is for revision, but it's also for the people who can't currently be in school because you're not very well or for whatever reason. So I'm going to do this by lessons that I've taught at school currently in September 2020. I'm going to do it bit by bit, just the stuff that I've actually done in the lesson for that day. So hopefully you'll be able to catch up. Okay, so Blood Brothers then. By this point you should have read the play because we did a read through in class, so hopefully you were there for all of that. If you haven't, you can go ahead and finish that. I've tweeted the links to Act 1 and Act 2 for the Blood Brothers version that we watch in lessons. So go ahead and watch those. If you haven't, it will take you a few hours. So get out the popcorn, get yourself a juice or a drink. Make yourself comfy, stick your ears in though, stick your headphones in, because if people hear the songs, they might pick up singing them and you'll all drive each other crazy. Not that they're not fabulous songs to sing, but you know what I mean. Right, so Blood Brothers then. The first task was to go through your plays and label the top of each page. So it looks like this here on the screen, so that when it's in your folders, they all stick out. So the main events then, please. So i.e. where she sold a baby, where the twins meet, where they commit any particular crimes or any of that stuff, okay? Because a lot of the time lost during lessons is because people can't find the key events that they're hoping to link together, okay? Now you'll have to bear with me while I change all of this stuff, because on my home computer, my laptop is wider than my school computer, and so it goes all squiffy. So you'll have to bear with me, but I'll try and do my very best. So this is what your exam paper will look like. You will have a big thick chunk, and you will skip everything. So you'll skip inspector calls and all the other stuff that you don't do, and you will find Blood Brothers, and you will get to choose between these two questions. You do one question on Blood Brothers. I can't stress this enough. You do one question on Blood Brothers, because people have made the mistake now of answering both, and you don't get marked for the second one. You don't do it. So the first type of question is, how does Russell use the characters of so and so and so and so in Blood Brothers to explore ideas about, and then there will be a theme. So it could be Mickey and Sammy about crime, maybe Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Lyons about parenthood or motherhood. It could be Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Lyons or Mickey and Edward about class, maybe something like that, okay? Or you can pick this one. How does William Russell present a theme in Blood Brothers? So this could be class, crime, it could be anything, okay? This one you don't have to write about a limited number of characters, so you could write about 3 or 4 if they were interlinking and you've got plenty to say. This one, you only specifically talk about those characters. You keep your main focus on those characters. You may mention a couple of the others, but you come back to those and you keep your main focus. They're both worth 34 marks, including SPAG, spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. It's the one you think that you can write the best about and have the most sustained and sophisticated answer, okay? So it doesn't matter which one you go for, it's which one you think, yes, do you know what? I can do that. That one's mine. I'm going for that one. You won't get told off or criticised for doing whichever. It's entirely up to you, okay? Ignore this. I haven't given it out yet, not going to lie. I will do, though, and when I do, I will email it to the people who are missing. So don't pay attention. Right, setting then. Why is it important to think about the setting of a play or a text? Why is that so important? This was a discussion in class earlier, and then we came up with this. We came up with understanding the cultural differences. We came up with understanding the plot. It helps us to understand the plot. That we can make comparisons about then and now, or different areas, or what have you. That we understand relevant detail. That we might understand why characters are the way they are because of their background, perhaps, up here. That we might be influenced by any major events going on at the time, or any influences. And we also might understand what the appearance of the place looks like. For example, if we look at Scrooge and we think of London and the fog and all that stuff, and we might think, oh, a bit of pathetic fallacy, sets the tone, tells us more information that's just on the page, the subtext. Or we might understand why in My Last Duchess, not My Last Duchess, why in Ozymandias, for example, what the desert looks like. It would be useful to understand that if we knew that Ozymandias was he was a pharaoh in ancient Egypt. Okay, so that's what we've got. So go ahead and grab those notes down then. You can pause the video. Okay, I'm going to assume then that you've done that. I hope that you've done that because you'll probably need it. Okay, so the next task was then that we had a look at the next few slides and we wrote down ideas about what we thought life would be like in Liverpool in the 1980s, which is where the end of the play is set. Very early 1980s, yet still the 1980s. I did ask the class to do this in silence so that they were forming their own ideas, thinking about anything that they interesting that they saw or what it might have sounded like or smelled like, which sounds a bit weird now, but you'll understand when we get to the photos, what they might have heard and how this might have affected people like Mickey and Sammy, for example. Now, halfway through this, we did have a fire drill, so you guys will actually see now more than they did in class, but I'm going to add it up anyway because it's pointless to just stop halfway through. Okay, so I'm not going to say much more, and I'm not going to pause like I did in class because you have a pause button and you can use it. Okay, so I'm going to give it like a second or so, and then so you can pause. Yeah. Okay. Great. Fantastic. By the way, this is the longest I've ever been quiet. Not gonna lie. There are a lot of these, so you might be pausing quite often. That's something to note. I think that this is a cafe or something because that says lamb chop, roast chicken, boiled ham. I think this is a cafe, fish and chips, and this seems to be like a price board there. He looks a bit sad all on his own, bless him. This, in case you can't read it, it says, special notice, gentlemen are required to adjust their dress before reaching the exit passage. Now, this doesn't mean they're wearing a dress, it means what they're dressed in. Fish and chips, you can't beat good fish. Good fish and chips, chippy tea. If anybody's wondering, this is probably like a brass band. This used to be a thing. You used to perform in a brass band under one of these things. I've done this before now. Don't laugh. Don't judge. Don't judge. I used to be very good. Before you ask, because somebody wasn't sure, this is a dog and it's being dried by with a towel. It's not a small child. That's the same dog. Don't forget to think about why this man has had to have a window guard. Why that might be. If you can't see what this says, it says Marlboro. Marlboro is the cigarette brand company. So this is where they sold cigarettes and stuff like that. And this one was Woodbines was that as well, but obviously this has been, well, yeah, you can see. If you don't know what this is, it's an allotment. Yes, this is a pub. That's my alarm. Sorry, guys. I hope you didn't hear that. It just sounds so weird. Somebody in class thought this was an animal. It's not. It's a little girl. Somebody thought this was at rush hour, but back then, because there was no online shopping like there is today, city centres were much more crowded than they are today. She doesn't seem to even notice this, which tells you what? This is price per gallon, by the way, which is extremely, and Deephan Baker agrees, I'm sure you can hear him, extremely cheap for in comparison with today's prices. This, I think, is a sewage pipe. This is a fish and chip shop. So I'm sure you can deduce what day it is. And yes, she is wearing a swimming costume. Entirely normal in the 80s, I have to say. This is where the class got up to. So you guys watching this now will be ahead. Don't forget I asked you to think about smells and sounds. Make sure you're writing these things down. Okay, so that's your lot. Next lesson we'll be looking at the major themes, and then we're going to take each one in turn and go through them in class. So that's it for this lesson. I hope you've made copious amounts of notes, and if you're not in class, I hope to see you soon. You take care and stay safe. Like and subscribe. Jokes. I haven't done that for months. Joking. Obs. I mean, you can if you want. It's up to you.